people, like in general, they eat more fish and vegetables than meat. Like, especially TV commercials, they pick only like good-looking ones. They start thinking like, oh, okay, so this is how other people think. Oh, this is how my classmates think. Like, more than half of my classmates say like, oh, this girl actress is nice, pretty, skinny, and slim. I want to be like that. Adding extra fact of that is that they're massively sensitive about what other people think about them. So there's not much of a strong individualism, not much of a self-acceptance, and there's so much of a humbleness, and even to the point of a self-deprecation. What's up guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to talk about why in Japan there's such a thing called skinny shaming as opposed to fat shaming. No. Actually, that's a lie. Why there is no a skinny shaming, just like in Western countries like United States, Canada, but there's a fat shaming. And why to such an extent? So in Japan, like people basically eat vegetables and beans, like natto. They eat meat, but they eat meat less often, less frequently than in, like, let's say in Canada or United States or Germany or UK, compared to Western countries. Because in Japan, I would say like as far as I remember, I think 60% of food is imported from overseas. So for Japanese people, buying meat or most of the food would be a little more expensive because it's imported. Excuse me. So that's a basic situation in Japan. So food is more expensive, protein is more expensive, meat, cheese expensive. And so people, like in general, they eat more fish and vegetables than meat compared to Western societies. What that means is that they tend to have lower calorie diet than Western food or diet. So they tend to be a little more slimmer by nature. And on top of that, including the factor from the genetics, Asian people, including Japanese, tend to be a little smaller, have smaller frames, and weigh lighter, and they tend to be a little more average to slimmer than big and thicker. And so that's a second point, the genetics and the diet. And the diet influenced by also the modern diet influenced by high cost by buying meat and stuff. And on top of that, there's a cultural aspect, like socio-economic aspect of it, which is about how people, like how they have, you know, lived in Japan society for such a long time with a certain kind of mindset where they like to be skinny and slimmer. So many, I think, you know, it happens to Western society as well, but in Japan, the reason why fat shaming is so strong still right now is probably because the whole, like, the top executives and then those managers in advertisement companies, marketing companies, and whole, like, industry, pretty much, the medias, entertainment, magazines, all those companies are kind of projecting the idea that, okay, so hot and attractive women or actresses or models are supposed to look this way and that way. And then probably one of the most obvious ways for the general mass, so many people to see it, is in like TV commercials or magazines cover, or, you know, actresses that are selected. You know, most of the time actresses and for TV commercials or TV dramas, movies, are most of the time, you know, they're more good looking than average people, right? and they pick, especially TV commercials, they pick only like good looking ones, and the way they define good looking based on those the guys, girls, executives, guys who are working at company producing those TV commercials or the cover of the magazine, like to basically just project an idea that, okay, they are basically the one of the most obvious ways to define what society thinks is attractive, what society thinks is average body type, what society thinks is skinny body type. And in like TV commercials, that the idea might be a little bit more skewed on the skinnier side. So they kind of go a little extreme, like especially like in model magazines. They like to use really skinny like girls, models, actresses, even like TV casters as well. So because of that, subconsciously, those media subconsciously speaking to a viewer's and audience's mind that, oh, she's so beautiful, and you see other people commenting on those girls, oh, she's skinny and so beautiful, oh, I wanna be as skinny as her, oh, look at her legs, it's so skinny, I really like that. You see those comments, bubbling up from like Instagram or Yahoo News or YouTube comments, and then especially like those young kids, elementary school. Since probably elementary school, they start watching like favorite magazines or TV dramas, or they're gonna follow favorite Instagram models or just models in general. And they go to school, they talk about their favorite models or girls or actresses, of course, and they're already grown up. At the grade 5, grade 6, they're already grown up enough to talk about, oh, she looks pretty, oh, she looks cute. So they can tell what kind of attributes contributed to a girl looking really attractive in the society's standard, whether that's skewed or biased or not. So those sensitive, really pretty easy to be influenced elementary school kids and junior high school kids, basically being pretty much overloaded with those media information from magazines, movie, TV commercials. And TV is pretty huge as well, but right now these days, internet media is pretty big as well. So like Facebook, trending videos, trending Instagram posts. So people see that either directly or indirectly. So you could see so many comments saying like, oh, she's skinny and she's so pretty. And now that's telling your mind subconsciously that, oh, okay, so I see so many people saying, oh, skinny and beautiful are kind of like in combination. They need to be coexisting. So from their mind, skinniness and beauty are not mutually exclusive, So they start thinking like, oh, okay, so this is how other people think. Oh, this is how my classmates think. Like, more than half of my classmates say like, oh, this girl, actress is nice, pretty, skinny, and slim. I want to be like that. Then they're gonna be obviously more influenced because they're young. They don't want to be excluded from the group. And then younger kids are more sensitive to follow the trends. Especially they have like group mentality, especially in the school system. So it's almost like if they don't follow some like TV shows, a Netflix TV show, they can't keep up with the daily conversation with classmates. So it's pretty critical for them to follow latest trends and latest actresses and actors and models. So that's pretty much one of the biggest, I would say, contributing factors for them, like Japanese students, to be influenced in such a way that they think, okay, so I need to look like that and this, it's that social programming called social programming or conditioning. So their mind have been programmed since very young age through exposure to medias, social medias as well, through interactions with friends and classmates and even teachers, right? If their role model, like the person, like adults that they see every day, a teacher, for example, are also, their brain or mind is programmed when they are younger to accept certain belief system. Let's say, oh, skinny is beauty, but on a really skewed side for Japanese people, then that idea or that take or belief system is going to be consciously or subconsciously being passed on to next generation, whether in a direct or indirect way. Maybe a teacher is dressed up a little skinny way or slim. Either way, and that's the way how society in Japan works right now, as far as I understand. So it's a society, and generally speaking, Japan is a massively homogeneous country. There's 95+% of people are ethnically Japanese. So think about how much foreigners they see on a daily life. Not much. I mean, too little. So even if media is coming and you see so many different movements happening outside of Japan, that's just information. That's not really their reality. All they see is Japanese people with specific sets of belief systems passed on to their brain. And so many people share kind of similar belief systems. Not much of diversity in different ideas, concepts, and whatever thinking in Japan. Especially in elementary school, junior high school, they are basically generating. So basically their passive education and yes, no, not much of thinking, not much of critical thinking, and it's pretty enclosed environment, I have to say, elementary school and junior high and high school. So it's pretty obvious that so many Japanese want to worship skinny or slim, super skinny models and stuff, and then that probably won't change pretty soon. And that's the reason why there's such a strong degree of fat shaming in Japan. And it's Japan is island, and the not much fluidity in people and information compared to, let's say, a country which is connected to other countries in the same continent, like let's say between Canada and the United States, or like Germany, France, Poland, and also the language barrier contributes this as well. So not much of Western, let's say Western the ideas or movement originate from Western society. It takes time for Japanese to accept and interpret in their own way, because there's a time lag in first of all translation, and after that it's massively homogeneous country. So that's pretty much a reason why it slows down everything, change, adapting. So if you go to Japan, you're gonna see many really slim people. I mean, in Japan, probably many people, many girls still think that they are chubby and fat, even if considered compared to other people from different ethnicities. They still think, because they're also adding extra fact of that is that they're massively sensitive about what other people think about them. So there's not much of a strong individualism, not much of a self-acceptance, and there's so much of a humbleness, and even to the point of a self-deprecation, which means they kind of they want to they don't want to, the society encourage people to not discourage people to think low of themselves. So opposite of that is they don't think highly of themselves, being confident and affirmative. That's not Japanese culture, and especially they're being suppressed. They're not allowed to speak up their mind from their education system. So they obviously become more self-deprecating. They feel less confident. They feel less proud of what they think and how they look. So all that factors added and combined, as far as I can remember right now, their personality, humbleness, and self-deprecating. They you probably don't believe it, but there are so many Japanese phrases to describe their sons and daughters. And the direct translation of Japanese word meaning my son used in specific context is direct translation is stupid son. 日本語で具足、私の具足はとかね言うんだけど、so 具足 means 具足、足 means son, 具 means stupid or idiot. So 具足 means like direct translation would be stupid son. That's a way for them to show the modesty, but in a wrong way. But anyways, that's kind of mentality at their self-deprecating mentality at its finest, right? Self-deprecating. They like to talk down their family, their friend, sons, daughters, when they talk to other neighboring families, because they don't want to show off their sons too much. In Japanese, people like to interpret being confident as a little bit narcissistic, and that's something another talk, but totally different topic, but something that's a little bit warped. But that's a reason why many Japanese don't act as confident as Western people, like especially the North American people, because in Japan, if you act too confident, if you talk too assertively, if you behave too, let's say for a guy to be masculine and strong and dominant, many people, Japanese people, give you a cold shoulder, and then they think that you are a little bit too self-centered and then too narcissistic and then too like self-loving, and it's like they're a little bit more sarcastic, and they like to have a combination of self-modesty and self-deprecation, and that's the reason why Japanese people use those phrases like gusoku, meaning like stupid son. So that's it, guys. I talked more than just the fat shaming, but the underlying Japanese personalities and the practices and the culture and how school systems and all that stuff contribute to this one symptom. But anyways, I hope you got some of the information, and I hope you got some insights about why Japanese people behave in certain way, why so many people are skinny and slim and there's so much fat shaming. And yeah, I hope you find something interesting and valuable from this video. If you have any questions, let me know. Comment section. I'll see you guys next time. Alright, bye bye. またね。